By teaching people to be empathetic to the bully, you're only encouraging bullies to continue to be bullies. You're saying that that's okay. I believe everyone deserves a quality self-defense education so they can live a life without having to be afraid. This is why I'm a martial arts educator and a school owner. And because life has thrown me a couple curveballs over the years, I had to start over. And I now have one student. I am so determined to make the martial arts my full-time career and part of my retirement. I'm Sensei Mish. Welcome to my journey. So we've come to this point on the path of our journey where I'd like to talk about bullying. And this is kind of a special subject for me. And the reason I specifically bring it up at this point is because I have a new troll. So not only do I have a few new students, which I have to remind myself to re-record the beginning of this, but I have a troll. Now, he's not the first troll, but he's one of those trolls that kind of sparks a conversation, hence the one that we're having today. Now, I've been a target of bullying for most of my life, primarily when I was younger, but I can say generally most of my life because it does happen sometimes as an adult, but I can deal with it much better now than I could when I was younger. And, when I try and think of why am I this target? Why are people picking on me? Honestly, I'd love to say I don't know. But when I look at it from an asshole's perspective, I can kind of think of a couple things. Let's start with my name. So my full name, and I'll put it right here, is Mishal Penn Handworker. Yes, I said Mishal. It's not a common name. Dude having that. I almost kind of equate it to a guy being named Leslie or Leslie. Commonly kind of a girl's name, but I don't know. So I can only assume that they would get teased too. I can only know me. My cousins, my own flesh and blood, they would tease me all the time. They would sing, Michelle, my belle, and just get me going. And of course, shorten that up, Mish, what I go by, Mish the fish that lived in a dish was very common for classmates to call me. So, and forget the middle name. A lot of people don't know my middle name, but let's take my last name, Handworker. Yeah, I'll let you figure that out on your own. So yeah, just my name alone attracts people. Now, growing up, I grew up in Southwest Hills of Portland. And that neighborhood is kind of well-to-do. It's a well-to-do neighborhood. But coming from a divorced family, living with my mom, single mother, my sister, we were not well-to-do. I did have the advantages of going to a good school, but as I later learned in life, that was due to the help of my grandparents. So I do have those advantages, but going to a good school means that you go to school with the richer kids, and I never wore name brand stuff. I was socially awkward, not athletic. Let's see, sci-fi and comic book geek also comes to mind. And for those of you who are young now, back in the 70s and 80s, being a sci-fi nerd, yeah, that was like outcast. Like that, you were an instant outcast. Now, I did have my own little group of friends, but in general, I was an outcast. So it's not cool. It's cool today. It's totally cool to be a nerd and dress up like your favorite comic book character. It's totally cool. But back then, not cool. Not cool at all. So let's fast forward a little bit. I'm a little bit older. I've been studying martial arts, and I study a martial art that just happens to be a little bit controversial, okay? Led by, and at the time, led by, I mean, now we're kind of factioned into other little groups, but at the time it was led by somebody who was also very controversial. And National Geographic, well, that episode didn't help the cause at all. Up until recently, I was much heavier. So, I mean, you can take a look at all my other episodes, and I was a big guy. I've been a big guy most of my adult life. So, and I will admit, it's still kind of a struggle. Oh yeah, and my 40-hour gig, I work security. It's not even real law enforcement. Security. So let's bundle all of that together, okay? So I'm a fat, socially awkward, nerdy guy who wasn't really popular growing up, who works security, as a rent-a-cop. Oh, yeah. And I have another thing. I put myself on the internet. I created a web series and I put myself on the internet for everyone to see. Isn't that fantastic? I've got all of these wonderful things going for me, and I just put it out there so people with no time, or with all the time on their hands, these little keyboard warriors, can fucking pick on me. It's awesome. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not crying or complaining, okay? I have had challenges in my life, yes. I've had support as well. And I think that's why I feel so fortunate, is because I had support. My mom was there when I was younger. My wife is there now. And the martial arts has done wonders for me. I have created, I've created the support network, but also I've also created these really great coping skills. So when I am faced with challenges, I am more apt to deal with them better. But here's the thing. I know a lot of people don't have that. And it's kind of what I want to talk about. And that's why I wanted to bring this subject up. Okay, so let's go back in time a little bit. I'm growing up. Okay, I got picked on a lot when I was younger. Okay, for whatever reason. Okay, and my mom always said, oh, well, they're trying to get your goat. Which, for those of you who don't understand mom language, that just means they're trying to get a rise out of me. They're trying to get me to react. And when I did react, I fought back physically. Like, I actually had some pretty cool fights, but that doesn't really, wasn't too popular with school and my mom. My mom didn't like me fighting. She tried to then say, hey, you should really use your words. And let me know if you've heard this one before. She encouraged me to tell people, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Guess what? That's a fucking lie. Words hurt. Okay? Words hurt, especially when you're trying to be accepted by a group, trying to be accepted by your peers. If they're teasing you, yeah, that shit hurts like nobody's business. Now, my mom was doing the best that she could. I honestly don't think that she knew how to deal with a child who is being bullied. And I suspect that there's a few parents out there today that don't know how to deal with a child that is being bullied. It's like grasping at straws of what to do. What I think she was trying to say, what I think she was trying to clarify, which I ended up having to learn on my own, is that you have to remove yourself emotionally from the situation. I mean, removing yourself physically from the situation is ideal, but even if you remove yourself physically, the hurt is still there. But if you can remove yourself emotionally and become objective to the situation, then you can remain in control. Now, when I get somebody who's yelling at me, insulting me, whatever, I put myself in that objective mode. And I have to remind myself that this person doesn't know me. They don't know what makes me tick. They don't know my loves, my fears, my dreams. They have no idea who I am. So their threats and their insults, why should I take that personally? I kind of look at it as I'm turning off the power to the button that will get me triggered. And I hate that word. I hate that word triggered, but it fits, okay? They're trying to push my buttons, and I'm not going to allow it because I put myself in that mode. Why should I give them the power to make me sad, to make me angry? Now, it's easy to say, go into objective mode, turn the other cheek, kill them with kindness. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. I'm not even going to lie to you about that. Now, it is easier when it is somebody's faceless. You got that troll on the internet saying you're a dumb shit, you're a fat, whatever. It's easier to do it that way. But when you see somebody every day at school, somebody every day at work, maybe even a family member, and they're treating you like crap, they're threatening you, they're being a bully, that's hard. That's really hard. Now, I experienced this recently, and recently I say in the last several years ago. I have an uncle. Technically, he is my ex-step uncle, but it is what it is. Now, Jason he's a martial artist. He is a 6th degree in judo. He's got black belts in a plethora of other arts that he constantly likes to remind you of. And no matter how confident or arrogant you think he is, he's actually really talented. I love the way that he moves, and the way he explains movement is also very good. And I was playing judo under his tutelage, learning stuff, because I wanted to start learning some type of ground stuff. And that went on for a few months until he decided to go off on some bipolar tirade on me on Facebook. And I can't even remember how it started, but all of a sudden he just I didn't deserve my black belt. I was too young to be a 5th degree. He even threatened me. He invited me to his dojo so we could fight to see who would win. That's nuts. That's yeah. So, but here's the thing. It's not just that's nuts. And I don't know why he did that. But it hurt. This is somebody that I admired. This is somebody I felt close to. Now, I hated his sister, my stepmother, my ex-stepmother. But I liked him, and I was close to him. I felt betrayed. That hurt. And this attack, personally, on Facebook, in public. It wasn't just in Messenger. He, on my wall. I had friends from all over going, who the hell is this guy? What gives him the right? Well, you know what? Nothing gives anybody the right to go off on you or me or anybody like that for any reason. So, I don't know. Now, I stood up to him. I did, because that's what I do. I stand up for myself. I stood up for him. I stood up. I called him out. I told him off. And I looked really strong on the outside. But on the inside, like I said, I was betrayed. I hurt. And it took a lot. It took a lot for me to pull myself out of that metaphorical pit that I had fallen in. For the first time in a long time, I was questioning myself. Was I even worthy to teach what I do? Was I even worthy of even being in the arts? Was I even, I was an adult, totally thrown back to that scared little kid who was bullied all the time. Like, oh my God. So now, yes, I've gotten over it. And I bring that up for this video because I think it's important. Now, he's not in my life anymore. I blocked him on social media. He hasn't tried to reach out to my knowledge. But it took me a long, long time to get over that. Now, I want to take this pause, and not totally a left turn at Albuquerque because we're still on the same subject, but I want to bring up anti-bully programs. So ultimately, I think they're shit. And the reason why is because a lot of the anti-bully programs, whether they're taught in public school, in private school, or martial arts school, the one commonality that I found is that they are trying to teach you, the person being bullied, to be empathetic towards the bully. Let me repeat that. They're trying to teach you, the person being bullied, to be empathetic towards the bully. We need to understand that they might have a bad home life. We have to understand that they might be bullied at home. They might be having personal struggles. Okay, so the guy that's punching on me on the playground, I could give a shit if he's having personal issues at home, if he's punching me in the face or calling me names. That's the last thing I really want to fucking care about. So when it comes to that, it's a load of shit. And I cannot believe that people actually consider shoveling that type of manure into people's faces. Seriously? Like, no. And even if you can manage to put yourself in that objective zone, the last thing I want you to do is be empathetic towards them. You stand up to the bully and you take the bully out. By teaching people to be empathetic to the bully, you're only encouraging bullies to continue to be bullies. You're saying that that's okay. Doesn't that kind of go against the whole anti-bully thing? And at the same time, if you punish somebody for standing up for themselves against their bully, you're only encouraging them to not stand up in the future. You're encouraging these people to be victims. People who stand up for themselves aren't victims. When it comes to bully education, I do agree that we do need to teach kids and adults alike how to identify a bully, because I think that's kind of skewed too in the different educations. You know, what's considered bullying and what's not considered bullying. I think the consensus really is that if they do something that you don't like, boom, they're a bully. No, not exactly. In fact, I think Dave Kovar's curriculum for martial artists against bullying program, that actually has the best education on how to identify a bully, especially to a young age group. I think it's the best. When I became part of the program, I downloaded the curriculum, I fell in love with it. I just think that that's just great. But really, to stop a bully, if you understand that you're being bullied, you have to understand that that's not okay. And you need to stop. You need to step up, stand up for yourself, and fight back. But fighting doesn't always have to be physical. Let me repeat that, okay? I know I'm doing a lot of repeating. Fighting doesn't always have to be physical. Even though we are teaching physical martial arts, except for those no-touch people, but we won't get into that. Fighting doesn't always have to be physical. I encourage people, use your words. Don't be there. But if you can't get away, by God, defend yourself. But you have to defend yourself. You have to be in control when you defend yourself. If you don't have control, it's not going to work very well. And I want people to listen to this part. And this is kind of controversial. When I say this, sometimes people don't really like this. Only you are responsible for the way that you feel. Okay? Only you are responsible for the way that you feel. If you put power, if you say, he made me mad, then you're giving power to that person. They're the ones that made you angry. But in all honesty, you are the one that's angry for whatever reason. Okay? It's your fault you're afraid. It's your fault you're scared. It's your fault you're angry. But at the same time, that's not a bad thing. You have to own it. And by owning it, you gain control over it. And once you gain control over it, you can remove yourself and enter that objective zone that I talked about earlier. Okay? So knowing that I can be in control of my emotions, that, yeah, that person is berating me. I don't have to let it get to me because they don't know who I am. They don't know. Why should I take it personally? I'm in control of my emotions. Because if you, and when you strike back, we don't want to strike back in anger. We don't want to strike back, we don't want to retaliate that way because anger does lead to the dark side. When it comes to my videos online, I have the comments turned on. And with that comes not knowing who's going to post or what they're going to post. But I have them turned on anyway because I honestly do want to hear from you, whether we agree or not, whether you liked the show or the episode or not. And I'm going to encourage you again, comment. I want to hear from you. Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm a loon? Doesn't really matter. But I have those turned on for a reason. Now, of the negative comments that I get, sometimes I just ignore them because it's just like I can just read I can just read it and just be like, there's no point in responding to this person. Because I just don't want to deal with the drama. Okay? There's other comments that I will respond to. Because, and maybe it's just like, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's that easy. One guy, and sometimes I come back with something witty. I remember this one guy, I can't remember what episode it was, he had commented on, it was something to the nature that he wasn't buying what I was selling and that he was going to scour the internet and search for flying carpets. And so I responded saying, try Disney. I hear they carry them in the Aladdin section. And then I followed up by, sorry, we disagree, blah, blah, blah. So that actually turned into a pretty good conversation. We ended up not being on the exact same page, but he was open to hearing from where I was coming from. And he expressed some of his concerns with, not necessarily with my video, but essentially I think his nephew was looking at martial arts schools, and there was a martial arts school selling, teaching pressure points, and he got online and really didn't buy it. So I think he had watched the National Geographic episode. But that ended up turning into this good conversation. And what I think what happens sometimes is you have these people who just comment and don't think you're going to respond. When you call them out on it, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. And I've experienced that at work. You get this person yelling and screaming at you, cursing at you. You call them out. tell them, dude, that's not okay. I work at a hospital. I sometimes will be like, dude, your nurse is here to help you. They called me because you're being an ass. Why are you cursing at him? And when they get called out, there's a lot of people are like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not feeling well, or whatever excuse they're going to use. But when I find that when most people are called on their shit, they're actually not that bad. They apologize, they regret their comments, etc. However, there are those special cases, which I do want to share with you today. I wasted 2 hours of the last 2 hours of my work chatting with this guy. And I'm going to go over the chat with you, and I want to talk you through about my thought process and why I had said what I said. So let me get my phone. I have my phone. This is not going to take 2 hours. This was more waiting for him to text back, me thinking of something witty. But I get on Instagram and I see that I have a message. And just to give a little bit of context, I've been promoting this one program I'm looking for test students on. I've been promoting it for a few weeks. So I think, oh, maybe he's interested, because he starts out, hey, Sensei Mish, I would like to study / train your martial art. Now, this was last week that he sent this to me, and I just saw it. And I don't normally get on, I get on the app, but I don't like get on. So anyway, so I had just seen it, and he had responded maybe a little bit later going, Sensei, ? So I tell him, I said, hey, I didn't see this until today. Let's chat. I gave him a link to schedule a thing, and then he hearted it. So then he just starts asking me questions. How long have you been a black belt? Which I found kind of funny, because I just posted my belt rank video, and I say that no one's ever asked me how long I've been a black belt or what rank I am. So I found that humorous. So I tell him, 96, 97, I can't remember. Last November marked 30 years in martial arts. He responds, nice. Have you ever used your martial arts in life? Yes, I have. So I said, I have. I've been in the security industry for about 18 years, lots of hands-on experience. And he goes, how many students do you have? And this is a question I get quite a bit, because, is it going to be a small class or whatever? So I tell him, not many, currently 3 full-time training and 2 more who are currently signed up for my modular test curriculum. I'm in the midst of rebuilding my school. I'm all about transparency and honesty, okay? And he goes, okay, cool. Then he asks a weird question. When I'm a black belt, will I win street fights? That one, my little spidey senses are starting to go off. So I respond, having a black belt doesn't guarantee winning any fights, which is true. Then he asks, can you teach me the ultimate punch? And I start thinking, the ultimate punch. There's definitely something going on with this guy. Maybe he's a little slow. I don't know. But I don't want to insult him. So I said, I can teach you how to punch correctly, but I wouldn't call it, quote unquote, the ultimate punch. And here's his response. Are all the best black belts fat? Troll. Like, my spidey senses were going on, and then that, like, boom. And then he continues, because I'm not that fat, but I can get fatter. I love eating. So I'm going to call him out on it. But again, I don't know, so I'm going to be nice. So I say, not to be mean, but this conversation is going in the direction of troll. Not interested in playing your game. So then it starts in. Stop selling people wolf tickets, you pork chop. Your black belt is from a cereal box. So I was like, hey, believe what you want to believe. Being a big guy, I've heard fat jokes. Like, sometimes sarcasm starts kicking in. I encourage people to be, come up with something original, And if I haven't said it before, I think sarcasm is probably the best skill you could learn. the best safety skill. But it takes time. It takes time to kind of build it, because there are times when to use it, and you will see, because I do get a little bit sarcastic. And there's times that you shouldn't, because it can easily de-escalate. But at the same time, it can easily escalate. So me being sarcastic with the guy saying, hey, try out Disney, I felt that that was appropriate just to start out. But we'll see how this goes. So I say, believe what you want to believe. He says, I believe you couldn't make it to the fridge and back, fat boy. More insults. So this guy is a true troll. He's an asshole. He posts some GIFs. Yes, they're GIFs. And then he says, hey, that's my uncle above. And I said, what's wrong with you? Do you get off fucking with people you disagree with? And he says, he'll fuck you up. I said, I had more intelligent conversations with a dude from McDojo Life, which is true. Rob and I, the dude from McDojo Life, he and I have actually chatted on Instagram. In fact, I want to do a live cast, a Dojo Talk cast with him. I just haven't reached out to him. So, Rob, if you're listening, I'll contact you at some point. Mainly because, yes, we disagree. Well, he was more asking my stance, and so he kind of understands where I'm coming from, but he was never mean about it. He never teased me about it. Anyway, so I'll continue. He says, how many push-ups can you do, Sensei? 4? Have you ever won a fight? Seriously. So I respond, actually, yes, I have. But how does that affect your life? I always sometimes go on the psychological, social, I don't know. I want to try and get to where I want to see why they're thinking. And he goes, did you win against a Big Mac? Stop charging people for fake martial art. I was like, dude, what's with the fat jokes? And what would you consider real arts? Because you're a fat joke. You couldn't punch your way out of a paper bag or a wet paper bag. You'd gas out in seconds and the bag would win. Sensei fake. So I tell him, look, if you're trying to get a rise out of me, you have failed. All I see is that you're insecure, full of hate, nearsighted, and a nearsighted individual. And I feel sorry for you. See, that's me being empathetic, or at least trying to. I could really give a shit. Okay, Sensei, why are all American senseis all fat cunts? You're a fake. Bullshit martial arts. So I see my opening to be a little bit sarcastic, so I correct him with the correct your. You have to make yourself feel good. A schoolgirl could whoop you. So I respond, but why are you going out of your way to make me feel bad? To try and make me feel bad? He says, stop being a fake fat cunt. It's not out of my way. So this is your purpose in life, I respond? Yeah, to expose fat cunts that think they're martial artists. What happened to you? Who touched you? So, are you associated with McDojo Life, or are you just a wannabe? Because there are just wannabes out there. He says, I don't want any of your McNuggets. You haven't had a hiding in a while, huh? And I was like, and then probs ever? I'm guessing that's probably ever, I don't know. And so I said, English dude, you're starting to get incoherent. So then he posts a little GIF from Seinfeld. I was like, hey, that's a funny episode, because I think I actually have seen that episode. It was funny. And then he posts a picture of me from my Instagram page. Did you give yourself the belt? And I said, no matter what I answer, you're still going to ridicule. So there's no point, though I'm finding this conversation entertaining. So, I mean, I am laughing as he's sending this stuff to me, concerning that he's pulling shit off my Instagram feed, but still. He says, how about if I beat you up, or how about if I can beat you up, I get your belt, and you never teach this bullshit again? Deal? Why? Now he's getting into the threatening part. Because you're a bullshit artist. You don't believe you don't believe in your skills. I said, and that's your opinion. I do believe in my skills, but I don't have to stroke my ego and prove them to trolls like you. You didn't answer my previous question. What do you consider real martial arts? He says, I'm not a troll. I'm not a troll. I can come expose you in person. So on video, if he ever decides to show up and I kill him, that he was the aggressor. Would you rather a real beating in front of your students? You're the one with a fake ego. And then he responds to my question. BJJ wrestling, Muay Thai, boxing, Sambo, these are real arts. Yours wouldn't work in a movie. And then he posts one of my little video clips of one of my Kyushu Corner episodes, a short for my Kyushu Corner episode. Stomach 25, laughing emoji. And I said, forget the name of the point. Have you even tried it? Because that's one thing I do. You tease me about doing this. Have you even tried it? Have you ever been headbutted? Why are you lying to people? That poor kid with glasses gonna get bashed now. Is gonna get bashed now. I said, yes, I have been headbutted. Doesn't feel good. Have you even watched the show? What show, he says. Kyushu Corner. He's like, obviously, he's like, what show? So he has no clue about me. What did I say? He doesn't know anything about me, so why should I take any of this personally? Now, little spidey senses, he is making threats. He has said he's going to come here in person. Me, in real, I'm not truly worried about it, but I don't know. If he's crazy, we'll see. So I say Kyushu Corner. Obviously not. I'm not teaching people how to fight. I'm showing people points that will make their techniques more effective, which is the truth. You're selling them bullshit. I know. I'm in an art that gets a lot of flack, but I'm not some weird psycho teaching people how to do no-touch knockouts. Then he continues. You're a fake. You need to stop and start a real martial art. So I'm like, and what if I don't stop? You're embarrassing your family. That's your opinion. I snap back. I didn't really snap back. You know what I mean. You can't fix stupid. America! I said, in response to your list of real martial arts, all good, solid martial arts, at least we can agree on something. Drop your fake shit and do one of you, drop your fake shit and do one of you want to call yourself a martial artist. Or you as real as Santa. So, of course, I corrected him again with a your. You're a fake cunt. Well, at least he got the your part right. Or you're a fat cunt. Can I use that line when or do you have a copy written? And then he repeats stomach 25. Have you tried it? What about liver 43? Spleen 7. Bet you can't even find the clit. Sensei. So at this point, I'm thinking, I don't really need to prove anything to him. I was thinking, well, there isn't a liver 43, but that's just that I'm not going to go there. So I said 25. Yes, it works great in real. And I've used it in real. It's a great point. So it doesn't get a butt-headed? Fucking idiot. As for me, and this is where I couldn't help myself. As for finding the clit, you'd have to ask your girlfriend. And I just started, I pressed send, and I just started busting up because that's funny. But I was nice, and I said, sorry, that last one, ... I couldn't help it. I mean, he totally opened it up. And he responds, good one. So at least I scored 1 point. Actually, I'm scoring lots of points, but at least he acknowledged that, which doesn't give me a lot of hope, but he's not all asshole, maybe 99%. I said, it was just that opening I had to take. Have you seen your dick past your gut? Bet you tried finding it. And I was like, again, with the fat insults. So then he posts a video again from my Instagram feed. I was doing a 100 push-up challenge, ended up straining my shoulder. We had the fires going on here, hard to breathe. So I stopped doing that. But I was posting them because I wanted to post, okay? And I think, and he says underneath it, 12 push-ups, which I think he didn't watch the whole video because it was a lot more than 12 at this point. Great start. Can you do 13 now? And I said, I've actually slimmed down quite a bit in the last year. That picture you posted to me from my mini photo shoot, that's a recent picture. So I can't remember really why I responded that way, but I did. You're a weapon. Have you had sex this year? I said, thanks for the compliment. Yes, I can do more than 13. Or still in full training mode, no time. So I really wasn't sure because I would respond to a text and then one would pop up. So I'm really not sure what he was trying to say. So I just responded with question marks. He says, are you going to start having sex this year? I think you can do it. Believe. You should wear your belt to bed. I was like, do you think so? Will that turn on the ladies? And he goes, make her call you sensei after you pay her. Go rub one out before class, sensei. Those 3 students are relying on you to be calm and professional. This guy, he's cracking me up. Now, it's towards the end of my shift. So I tell him, I say, look, as much fun as this has been, I have to go. This conversation has given me a good laugh. Thank you for brightening my day. So that's a little killing him with kindness there. And he goes, go run, fatty. Think about how fake your life is. So then it ended. Okay. I didn't delete him, mainly, or block him. I don't know how to block people on Instagram. So I'll figure it out. But I also didn't delete him, or I didn't block him because I wanted to see if he would come back, if he was a return attacker. He did post a little bit later on, if I get punched in stomach 25, will it affect my other stomachs? Well, he's still just being a dick, so I'm not worried about it. And then he says, can you teach me lung 5? Well, I'm just not going to entertain him. The other thing I suggest, ignore. Again, very hard, but you have to be kind of objective, not really give a shit. This person's just making fun. So I've ignored him. I haven't responded, not going to. But he also, this was a few days ago, he also hasn't responded back, or he hasn't continued to respond. So me ignoring him, maybe he'll just stop. Which I bring up ignore, and I didn't say it earlier, but that's also something my mom said. Just ignore them. It's really hard to ignore people when you're trying to be accepted, when they're punching on you, when they're calling you names. So if you are somebody being bullied, it gets better. If you're being bullied, it does get better. In fact, if you're being bullied and you need to talk to somebody, I want you to reach out. Dead serious. Reach out. My goal as an educator, like I say at the very, 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 very beginning of this video, my why is to teach people self-defense so they can live a life without having to be afraid. And that is important to me, because if you're being bullied and you don't know how to get out of it, you're afraid. The techniques that work for me, and honestly, I don't remember being taught these. These were things that I had to develop on my own for my own mental well-being. These are my coping skills. But I believe that the martial arts helped with that. That's why I'm so passionate about the martial arts. It's given me strength. It's given me confidence. But I can remove myself emotionally from the situation and become objective. And from there, I control my response. Whether my response is physical, whether my response is verbal, whether my response is witty, whether my response is incoherently stupid, which has happened. In the end, I become a stronger person. So, if you're being bullied, reach out. I'm dead serious. You can hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on Facebook. I would say, hey, follow me, send the like. Honest and in real, yes, if you've made it this far to the end of the episode, which is, it's going to be long, but if you haven't subscribed, do so now. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, whatever. You don't have to, but for those who are being bullied, if you want assistance, I can give you my ear, maybe some suggestions, but I do encourage you to reach out to me. So that all being said, I didn't want this to end on a dark note because bullying is a big issue, and I just wanted to get it out there and talk. I wanted to give an example of how I dealt with a complete asshole, some experiences that I've had in my life and how I've dealt with them and how it made me feel. But there you go. So until our next video, don't be afraid.